A good story can become confusing in just 10 seconds. Imagine someone saying, yesterday they go to the library, they saw a strange man, and then they didn't saw the librarian. You probably understand the general idea, but the timeline feels unstable. The speaker starts in the past, jumps into the present, and then uses the wrong verb after didn't. This is one of the most common problems when English learners retell a story, describe a movie, explain what happened in class, or answer a speaking test question. The solution is not to memorize a long list of difficult words. The solution is to build one clear timeline and keep your verbs on that timeline. Today, we will use a simple story retelling system. Set the scene, move through the events in order, explain the turning point, and finish with the result. At the same time, we will keep the main events in the simple past. Let us begin with the weak version. They go to the library. They saw a man in a costume. They don't believe him. Later, they find more costumes, and the librarian is pretend to be famous people. The listener can guess what happened, but the grammar keeps changing. Some verbs are present, some are past, and one verb form is not possible in natural English. Now listen to the stronger version. The students went to the library and saw a man in a historical costume. At first, they did not believe his story. Later, they found several costumes in the librarian's office. In the end, they discovered that the librarian had been dressing up as famous people. The information is almost the same, but the second version is much easier to follow because every sentence supports one past timeline. The first rule is simple. When the story is finished, anchor the main events in the simple past. Say they went, not they go. Say they saw, not they see. Say they found, not they find. Say she wanted, not she wants. These verbs tell the listener that the action happened before now. Some past tense verbs are regular. We add ed, as in wanted, looked, opened, and discovered. Other verbs are irregular, so their form changes. Go becomes went, see becomes saw, find becomes found, think becomes thought, keep becomes kept, tell becomes told. You do not need to use every irregular verb in English. You only need the verbs that carry your story forward. The second rule protects you from a very common mistake. After did not or didn't, use the base form of the verb. Do not say they didn't saw the librarian. Say they didn't see the librarian. Do not say she didn't admitted the truth. Say she didn't admit the truth. The word did already carries the past tense, so the next verb returns to its basic form. Here is another useful contrast. They did not see the librarian, but they saw someone in a costume. Notice the pattern, did not see, but saw. In the negative sentence, did carries the past. In the positive sentence, the main verb carries the past. The third rule is to use sequence words as road signs for the listener. A story without sequence words can sound like a pile of facts. A story with sequence words feels like a journey. Start with at first or in the beginning. Continue with then, next, or after that. Introduce an important change with later, suddenly, or eventually. Finish with in the end or finally. Be careful not to use a sequence word in every single sentence. That can sound mechanical. Use them when the listener needs help seeing a new stage. For example, at first the students thought the visitor might be telling the truth. Then they noticed several suspicious details. Later, they searched the office and found the missing costumes. In the end, the librarian admitted that she had created the characters to make the library more exciting. That version has 4 clear stages. First, there is uncertainty. Next, there are clues. Then there is a discovery. Finally, there is an explanation. This structure works for a book, a movie, a personal experience, a news story, or a Cambridge speaking task. You can make the story even more natural by using precise storytelling phrases. Instead of saying, they got a thing, say, they found a clue. Instead of saying, she did not say the real thing, say, she did not admit the truth. Instead of saying, she was other famous people, say, she dressed up as famous people, or she pretended to be famous people. Instead of saying, they asked her because she did it, say, they confronted her about the costumes. These phrases form natural partnerships. We usually find a clue, collect evidence, keep a secret, admit the truth, confront someone about a problem, dress up as a character, and pretend to be someone else. Learning the whole phrase is more useful than learning one isolated word. Now let us build an answer upgrade sequence. The basic version is, the librarian wore costumes. It is correct, but it gives almost no story. The clearer version is, the librarian wore different costumes because she wanted the students to visit the library. Now we have an action and a reason. The detailed version is, at first, the students believed that several famous people were visiting the library. After they found the costumes in the office, they realized that the librarian had been dressing up as those characters because she wanted to make reading feel more exciting. This version gives sequence, evidence, discovery, and motivation. It sounds complete because the listener understands not only what happened, but also why it happened. You may have noticed the phrase had been dressing up. That is useful for a more advanced learner because it shows an activity that continued before the students discovered the truth. However, you do not need that form to tell a clear story. A simpler sentence is also natural. They realized that the librarian was dressing up as famous people. Clear, simple past is more valuable than complicated grammar used incorrectly. Another important form is was pretending, not was pretend, and not is pretend when the story happened in the past. After was or were, use the ing form for an action in progress. She was pretending to be a historical figure. They were looking for evidence. The children were discussing the clues. Use this form when you want to show an action unfolding at that moment. Now imagine a practical situation. A friend missed a movie and you want to explain the plot without taking 20 minutes. You can use the same four-part system. Set the scene. In the beginning, a group of children visited a mysterious library. Move through the events. Then they met several people who claimed to be famous historical figures. Explain the turning point. Later, they found costumes and realized that the librarian was behind the mystery. Finish with the result. In the end, they understood her reason and agreed to return for the books they enjoyed. The words because, so, and as a result also help the story feel connected. The librarian wanted the children to enjoy reading, so she created an unusual experience. The students found the costumes, so they questioned her directly. She finally explained her plan, and as a result, the mystery was solved. These connectors show cause and effect instead of leaving the listener with disconnected events. Here is a short noticing challenge. Listen to two versions. Version A, yesterday the children go into the office and they didn't find anything at first. Version B, yesterday the children went into the office and they didn't find anything at first. Version B is natural. Yesterday places the event in the past, so go changes to went. After didn't, we use the base form find, not found. Listen to one more pair. Version A, the librarian was pretend to be an astronaut. Version B, the librarian was pretending to be an astronaut. Version B is correct because was is followed by the ing form when we describe an action in progress. When you retell your next story, remember three things. Keep the main events in the simple past. Use the base verb after didn't. Guide the listener with a few strong sequence words. Then upgrade your answer by adding a reason, a turning point, or a result. A clear storyteller does not need the longest vocabulary or the most complicated grammar. A clear storyteller helps the listener see what happened, when it happened, and why it mattered. Keep practicing with one short story at a time, and follow Mr. Academy for more practical English that turns simple answers into confident communication.